Hello, Spartan fans, and welcome to this latest edition of the Michigan State Spartans Insider Podcast. I'm your beat reporter from Michigan State Spartans on SI, Aidan Champion. Hope you all had a great Memorial Day weekend, had some nice time off, got to spend time with the family, and we're back to the normal week, albeit a short week, which is always very nice, especially during this time of year. Spring getting into summer here relatively soon, and weather's going to be much nicer here in Michigan. But for now, no football, no basketball. It's kind of a slow period of the off season, and that just means we gotta get creative with what we're talking about. And today I want to get into more football. A few weeks ago, I had posed the question, are the expectations for Jonathan Smith fair for 2025? My expectations are that he leads the Spartans to a bowl game, which, I had said it was kind of a ambiguous answer from me saying, yes, it's fair because it's just one more win, but also not really fair when you consider kind of what he's working with and what he had to work with last year and the conference he's in. I mean, this is the best conference in college football now. Five Big Ten teams made the playoff last year. But at the end of the day, I do think it's fair. I think one more win is plenty to ask for, especially when you consider the fact there were games, more games Michigan State should have won last year and could have. Um, so I think it's very fair to ask of a bowl game for a program that hasn't made it to one since 2021. That's, you're expected to be going just about every year when, you've got as prestigious a history as Michigan State does. Obviously, more so known as a basketball school, I would say, than a football school, but there's history there. There's a winning culture. You've been to the college football playoff. You've won national titles. There was a time where you were going to bowl games every year, and in the D'Antonio era, you're competing for Big Ten titles year in and year out. So, I mean, you gotta get back to that. You gotta get back to that level of prominence. So the question I want to pose today is a bowl game is at the bar we should be setting, or should it be higher? Because, you know, as I just said, there's a program that's expected to be, a competitor in the Big Ten. And as I said, Big Ten has gotten much, much better. It's the best conference in college football now, and you've got, you know, some titans really in this conference. And when you've got, you know, the second year of a new regime that, head coach came from the Pac-12, not a whole lot of experience coaching at this kind of level. Maybe it is too much to ask for more than a bowl game. I think bowl game is the bar, me personally, for year two, when you're considering where they were last year, where they've been in previous years. I think you just got to show progress, show growth, give something for the fans to hang on to, and then you got to build from there. But I'm curious to know what others think. If we're setting the bar too low with a bowl game, hey, why are we why are we settling for this? We're Michigan State. We should be reaching for 8, 9 wins. but I don't think we're there yet. I think we're pretty far from it. But weirdly enough, I don't think it's insane to assume that this team could reach that point because we don't even know. I mean, I think this is going to be a much different team from last year. I don't even know if that means it's going to be better. But even though you've got your staple with Aiden Childs at quarterback and you've got Nick Marsh coming back and Jack Vellon, and then a number of returners defensively, you still got a lot of new faces. Um, you've got, a couple new coaches. While there is a lot of the same still there, there's a lot of newness too. And, I just think there's a lot that's going to go into it. And I don't know what we're going to get. Um, but I know what you need to get, and that's a bowl game. I think fans, if that happens, should be content with that. I think that's bowl game year two is just fine, especially when you haven't been there since 2021. Um, but you gotta get there first, and that's not easy. I know said earlier that it doesn't seem like a lot to ask, but at the same time, that doesn't mean it's necessarily easy to get to that point. Um, at least for a team that's this new in terms of, you know, a relatively fresh regime. But I can see the argument where you know, you'd say that you're settling for a bowl game, that you need more. I wouldn't necessarily view it as greedy, but that's just, a fan saying, we expect more of this program. This is a historically successful program that should not be fighting for, you know, bowl eligibility every year. The standard should be much higher. But this is a new era of the Big Ten. It's a new era of college football. And you got to take what you can get with a new regime. And I just think a bowl game shows progress, shows growth, gets you back to a point you haven't been since 2021. And then from there, yes, you got to build on that and you got to start becoming an 8-9 win team. Only then do I think Jonathan Smith has you know, a very comfortable place at the helm. But I just think you gotta get to the bowl game first. It's baby steps, and if you don't, then start sounding the alarms. But I'm giving Jonathan Smith a chance. I believe that he can do it based on what he did at Oregon State, albeit different level of football. But when you look at the complete turnaround he had there, a team that had only won one game before he took it over, and then just two games in his first year, and seeing what he made of it. I believe that there is a vision here, and I like what he's done with the portal. I know a lot of people want more, but there's only so much you can do when you're not winning and maybe you don't have the funds for NIL. Um, but uh, but I see a path. I see what you know, I see a path where Jonathan Smith could be building something here. And it's going to start with making a bowl game in year two. Would love to know what you guys think. Is that setting the bar too low? Does Jonathan Smith, does this program need to jump from 5 wins to, say, maybe 8? I think that's a lot to ask, despite the standards, just given what you're working with. Um, you know, I think you just gotta take it year by year, get better each and every year. Um, but yeah, let me know. I can understand both ways, but I do think it's plenty fair to be setting the bar at 6 wins. So, as always, thanks guys for tuning in. Again, let me know your thoughts. Would love to hear them. But for now, uh, hope you again hope you guys had a great weekend. Look forward to talking to you next time. Thanks.